Okay, so now we're going to focus on submitting public testimony um, through the CGA website. We're going to focus on written testimony here. There is ways that you can testify in public, either through Zoom or through in person by going up to Hartford and sharing your voice there. Those are always the most effective ways to get your message across, but written testimony works as well, and we do know that a lot of the representatives, all of them should be reading it, but a lot of them do. Um, so how do we find out about some of these things? Well, if we go over here, one of the things that I get is I get these emails from a lot of different advocacy groups. I've signed up for all the email alerts. And they will send you things they'll tell you like basically all the information that you need to know in here. This is a bill that the School Meals for All Connecticut is tracking and working on themselves. And it says that there is going to be a public hearing that's coming up this Thursday, February 6th at 1 p.m. We need people to submit testimony. They have a link to what the bill is. They have a link to where you can submit your testimony right there. But we'll also go into how you can find that information in a second. And then they also usually have, like there's a list of some advocacy materials in here. So if you need help on submitting your testimony, there's all sorts of helpful information that they provide as well. There's most groups will do something like this, or they'll at least give you a template that you can sort of work off of, and some of the people that you want to focus your attention on as well. And then this group also has a training seminar as well too. So there's things like that that you can take advantage of as well. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to sign in to our CGA account. Last time we showed you that we go right through here through the general public. Got all my information saved there. Not a robot. Gonna log in, and I'm gonna look up my bill, which is SB 1217 here. An act providing school meals for all children. We're going to open that one up here. We're going to go to this bill here, and we're going to see that this is introduced by the Committee on Children here. And you can see that down here in the bill history, it says that the public hearing is scheduled for the 6th. So we know that this is the bill that we want to submit our testimony on. So if we go back to cgact.gov website here, now we look at our calendar of events here, and we're looking at Thursday the 6th. We're looking for the Committee on Children. We scroll down here. Way down here at the body, the Children Committee public hearing. Looks like it's going to be in room 1C or over Zoom. So if you are testifying in person, you would go to room 1C. You would sign up with the clerk there. They're going to put you in a certain order, and you would be ready to testify. If you're following an advocacy group, they'll usually have instructions on how you can testify in person. But there's also some pretty handy information. If you look at there's a website here about Your Voice Matters at the General Assembly. This has a lot of information on just what you do when you testify and how you can register and all that good information as well. We're not going to go into all that right now. But once there is an agenda, you can view the agenda. It's probably, there is one already. So you can see that our bill is going to be second. So it's probably going to be pretty early on. Sometimes if there's things that are more controversial and whatnot, and your bill is last, you probably don't have to show up right at 1 o'clock. It's probably going to take a little while for them to see you. But it's always a good idea to be there early if you do have the time and just kind of set aside the day if you have the bandwidth to do that as well. If you can register to speak, there's a link right here. If you're going to do that in person, there's a little Zoom link on how you can do that, and you can fill out all that information there as well too. If you're just planning on kind of watching some of the testimony too, you can go to the YouTube live channel. I think every committee has its own YouTube channel. And so you can see sort of what's going to be happening when it is happening there. This live link is kind of like where you see all the committees. So if you want to go back and watch something that happened in the past, you can see, there's our good friend Melissa Combs right there. And you can see some of the old meetings that happened and track things that way. Item. And right in here, you can do submit written testimony. If you can't find this, but you know from your bill here that you are looking for the Committee on Children, you can just do a little Google search. Open Google and say CGA Committee on Children. And this is also a useful link too, because when you're writing your written testimony, right here, committee membership, this has to be opened up. You're going to want to see who you're going to address it to. And usually what you address it to is who your co-chairs are. So this is co-chair Paris and Maher, your vice chairs, and your ranking members. You can also sort of look up who is in here and see if your representative is represented on this committee, because that sort of carries a little bit extra weight if it's somebody that is representing, your community that's serving on this committee. Mine just happened to not be on this committee. And then further down on the page, you can see, if you ever had to call the office for some reason, you can, but we're going to focus on submitting public hearing testimony right here. We're going to enter our name, our title, if you have a title that you want to have, if you're representing some kind of organization, say you're speaking on behalf of some group that you are a part of, you can put that in. Not required at all. You're going to select the hearing date that you want, and you are going to find the bill under this list of bill numbers. So this is the one that we have right here. You're going to say whether you support or oppose, or whether this is just general comments. Sometimes you might want to submit things that are neither in favor nor against, but you just have recommendations or guidelines or something that your expertise would be useful for the legislature to consider when they're looking at this bill. But this is one that I support, so I'm going to say support. You could either type in your testimony. So I have my testimony right here, and I could copy and paste in that link. But I do have a link in here that I want to include. So instead, I am going to attach my file here, and I'm going to upload a file. All right, so I'm back, and I've uploaded my file with my testimony in there. Should also just say, like when open up your testimony here, usually the way that you would start this is, so like we said, we're going to address the chairs and the ranking members and the vice chairs. You would say what your name is, what your residence is, like where you're from, and make sure that you restate the bill just so that they have a good sense of like what the bill is. You can type in as much or as little as you want. I tend to get a little carried away sometimes, read a couple paragraphs or so, but like really there's no need for that. You could just put, hi, my name is Tim and I support this bill. I think it's a good bill. You should pass it. Really, there's no obligation to go any further than that. But some people like to make a little bit more of a compelling case. You can cite from your personal experience. You can cite from experience of people you know. You can cite from your professional experience. At the end, usually try to wrap up by thanking the members of the committee for considering your testimony and restating that you hope that this bill either passes or does not pass, depending on what your perspective is. So I'll do that later. All right, so we've submitted everything. I'm going to say that I'm not a robot, and then basically just submit the testimony, and then that is that. They're going to have a little, warning here, just saying that, hey, this is a public record. Once your testimony is submitted, it is going to be on their website. Anybody can access it, so just know that. That might temper what you want to say. Everything is a matter of public record if it's going on in the government. So even if you're doing in-person testimony, just know that that's going to be videotaped, and you will. It's something that people will be able to access. But that's okay with me. It's a-okay. I'm going to say okay, and we are going to. It's going to ask if I want to do additional testimony. I don't know about any of these other bills. I'd have to look into them if there was something I wanted to testify on. So I'm going to say no for now. And then it just brings you back to the committee website. And that's basically it. It's a really simple process. The hardest part by far is usually typing up your bill if you, kind of want to add a little bit of grit and substance to it and do a little bit of research. But again, a lot of these advocacy groups, they will provide a lot of the materials for you. So you can always just use a template. You can look at information that they have. You can look at kind of like some of the materials that they have and the supporting reasons why they're asking for these bills. And if you agree with it, it's a pretty simple process to just kind of get your name out there. And the more people we have participating in the democratic process, the better. So I hope you all take time this year to submit some testimony on bills that you support. And thank you for listening.